Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Sanctuary. I hope your fantasy playoffs has kicked off as you hoped, but I'm here to talk Dynasty. It is Dynasty Monday. I'm going to run you through 10 players. We're going to talk through 5 risers, 5 fallers, and what you should be doing with them in Dynasty. Should you be buying them? Should you be selling them? I'm going to get you everything covered, and of course I'll have prices and little nuggets along the way. Let's start at the top. Brock Purdy. Not exactly the most hyped quarterback coming into the year, but he is absolutely balling right now. QB4 in points per game, averaging almost 20 points per game, and he has had 9 top 12 weeks. He is getting it done. If he is your QB2 right now, you will be laughing. I would happily pay 2 first-round picks for him. He's a top 12 dynasty quarterback for me now moving forward. I think there's maybe a little bit of a buy window. I think people are still a little bit hesitant to buy into him as a high-priced dynasty asset just because of that low draft capital where he is overall, but he's still going to be cheap for at least 2 more years, and I think that will allow the 49ers to continue to build around him, keep all those amazing assets that they have around him, all those weapons, and I think that he could still be another fantasy superstar for the next few years. So if you can get him on your roster as a QB2, I think you'll be laughing right now. The next riser, back-to-back weeks in this slot, James Cook. He's up to the running back 7 overall, but since week 11, he is the running back 3. That is behind Christian McCaffrey and Kyren Williams. That is it. He is rising very quickly. He is up inside the top 12 top 12 running backs for me. I would happily pay now a mid to late first. If you're looking for a running back to put you over the top this playoff run, I did say this last week, I think James Cook is absolutely one of those guys that could be in that conversation. He's doing it with a slightly less opportunity share since we've seen the change in offensive coordinator, but he's getting those all-important targets and high-value touches in and around the goal line. So he's looking good. I think this offense is going to change again over the next offseason, but I think James Cook is here to stay as a fantasy stalwart. And yeah, top 12 running back for me now moving forward. The next riser feels like he's been in this list for a long time as well. Trey McBride, he's the tight end 8 overall, but that doesn't tell the story. He's the tight end 3 since Zach Ertz went on IR. The Cardinals finally saw what they had in Trey McBride. I was a huge fan of him as a prospect, but didn't quite expect him to come out and break out in this massive way. He's now up to my tight end 2, and he is neck and neck with Sam Laporta as tight end 1, tight end 2. What he's doing is phenomenal. He's an absolute target hog, 19.2% target share. That's over 20% since the Zach Ertz went on IR. And I think he's a player that the Cardinals are going to build around moving forward. So absolutely, you can build around him moving forward in your dynasty leagues. Potential difference maker at a difficult position for several years to come. Maybe a slightly under the radar riser, Dontayvion Wicks. Yeah, okay, he's not doing it at the moment phenomenally from a fantasy production. Wide receiver 68 overall, averaging just only 6.5 points per game. But I genuinely think there is a world next year where he could be the wide receiver 2 or 3 in this offense. He played 78% snap share on week 15. He leads Packers receivers in yards per route run. We know that Christian Watson can't stay healthy, and he's just really a boom-bust deep threat. Romeo Doubs is becoming very touchdown reliant. I think Dontayvion Wicks could overtake both of them. I think it could be Jaden Reed and Dontayvion Wicks as the 2 moving forward. And I think people probably haven't woken up to him yet. Maybe you can go and buy him for a 3rd. Maybe you can pay 2 thirds. I'd happily pay a late 2nd because I think he's going to be a genuine piece moving forward. And I think this Packers offense could take another step or 2 moving into next season. The final riser, Kyren Williams, running back 2 in points per game, averaging almost 21 points per game. What can I say? He's averaging almost 100 rushing yards per game. And the Rams, to me, on Sunday showed that they are going to invest in moving forward. He had those 2 fumbles, and yet they still kept feeding him the ball. When the game was on the line, when they needed to close it out, who did they give the ball to? Kyren Williams, time and time again. He is now a top 5 dynasty running back. I know that the draft capital is not there, but we've just got to say, look, the Rams believe in this guy. When they're trying to win games, when they're trying to get that playoff berth, they are putting the ball in Kyren Williams' hands, and he's delivering, still leading the league in success rate as a running back. I'd happily pay a mid-first, but again, I don't think you have to. I think a late first, maybe chucking a late 2nd or a 3rd is getting it done, and I think he's still criminally undervalued at the moment in dynasty circles. If you're enjoying this content, subscribe. You know the off season's coming. I'm going to have so much prospect content. I'm going to have my rookie guide, positional previews, everything you could ever need to get clued up for the 2024 rookie class. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you do not miss it. Let's time to be negative. Sam Howell. Now, I had a rant on the main show 3-4 weeks ago about how Sam Howell was overvalued. I didn't see him being the quarterback long time in Washington. That's not changed. The Commanders are going to potentially have a top 5 pick. We're going to see a new head coach, a new regime. We've obviously got new owners. I'd be shocked if they commit to Sam Howell as their quarterback moving forward. I think they're going to look at maybe someone like Jaden McDaniels. Maybe they could even trade up. Yes, he's phenomenal for fantasy. He's getting it done. QB8 overall, averaging over 17 points per game. He's had 10 top 12 weeks. But I just don't think he's a long-term starter at the moment. I think he's now in that kind of fringe starter, high-end backup territory. I'd sell for a good second-round pick right now, and I think you can easily get that. People were paying a first for him a few weeks ago. So, yeah, maybe now's not the time to sell after he's got benched for Jacoby Brissett and might not have a starting job next week. But Sam Howell, no longer in my top 32 quarterbacks moving forward. Back-to-back weeks now for Travis Kelce. He's no longer the tight end 1 overall, down to tight end 2. He doesn't look the same player. He doesn't look as fast. He doesn't look as quick in and out of breaks. And age is finally catching up to him. Yes, the target share is still phenomenal. Yes, he is still a phenomenal performer. And I'm being slightly harsh saying it's a down year. But I don't see his value rebounding. He is now my tight end 6, which is absolutely wild to think this was a lock and loaded tight end 1 for the last 10 years. I just think that unless you're a contender this year, unless you're a contender that's happy to probably get no resale value on him, you need to be moving now. And I think it's a mid to late first, or maybe you can pivot from a Kelce to one of the young tight ends. I think that's where you probably need to be going if you're seriously looking at this as a dynasty, 2-3 years down the line. The next faller, Keenan Allen. Again, he's the wide receiver 3 overall. He's been phenomenal this year, 21.5 points per game. But I am seriously concerned about this Chargers team. I think they could completely hit the reset button. He's got a $34.7 million cap hit. So the Chargers are going to have 3 choices. They either pay him $34.7 million, which is astronomical. They cut him, only $11.6 million is guaranteed. Or they have to extend him and push some money into future years, which feels like quite an aggressive move for a GM that's coming in the first year on the job. So I'm nervous. I think if you can get any first for him right now, absolutely do that. I'm also nervous that he's potentially not going to play for the rest of the season. So look to get out, because as soon as we hit the off season, people become ageists and his price is going to plummet. So maybe you've missed your sell window on Keenan Allen, but if you can, try and get that late first, early second. Maybe you can get to a couple of seconds and pull the plug and move on. Another player that's fallen, look, this one hurts. Keaton Mitchell, he looked explosive, but that is a very serious knee injury. We know with undrafted free agents, they only get that 3-year contract rather than the 4. He's now got an uphill battle to be healthy for the start of next season. You're then going into a contract year. So I'm nervous. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's explosive. I think he's looked amazing with the ball in his hands. But I'm very nervous about him having any value moving forward. So I'd sell for any second. I'd probably sell for 2 first. I think he's a great player, great athlete, and looks electric. And it's so sad. But sadly, he's now facing an uphill battle to ever be fantasy relevant. The final faller, Tony Pollard. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. He is currently the running back 18. This is a guy that, some people had as their running back 1 coming into the season. He's just not getting it done. He's getting elite usage, almost 65% opportunity share, but he's had 1 top 5 week. He's just not been a league winner. He's not been a difference maker at the position. I'd sell for any first. Nervous going into the offseason as a free agent. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to pay him. I don't know if anybody else is potentially going to pay him. So who knows? He's currently my running back 14, but that could easily plummet. That could easily fall over the next few weeks if the Cowboys aren't making noises of re-signing him. So, yeah, I think you've got to be pivoting off him and selling him. But I don't know if you're going to get a return on investment. So maybe he is just a hold and hope that there's brighter days around the corner, because he's just not getting it done for fantasy right now. Is there someone that you disagree with that I've shouted? Is there a player that you think his value has changed that I've not let you know about? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, we'll be back in the week. We've got the preview show on Thursday, and we will help you win those titles and bring home these championships.